Who is the fastest bad man in the Flashland? Our minds have been running on the treadmill of time, boiling down who is the fastest speedster in Barry Allen's world. These are the 10 fastest Flash villains in the DC Universe. Take Bart Allen and Eobard Thawne's DNA and mix them up in the blender and boom, you get Inertia. Thaddeus Thawne has always been looking for role models and guidance, but he's historically been an unwanted child. In his first appearance in Impulse number 50, we see the poor boy trying to help out Batsy, but the Dark Knight calls Inertia out as being too impulsive. Even Joker finds him super annoying. And in All Flash number 1, the Flash himself wanted to straight up make him an angel. He found other ways to get attention, developing his intelligence. Lil Thaddeus uses localized chronokinesis, an alternate source of getting your fast on to the very prestigious Speed Force. So in effect, he isn't actually moving fast relative to other speedsters, rather he is able to make time move slow relative to him. The older you get, the more you wish you had Inertia's power. Every year seems to go by faster and faster. It'd be nice to slow things down before the Black Flash gets ya. According to his first appearance in Flash Comics number 104, Rival can move at a speed of over 150 miles per second. A relic villain from the days of Jay Garrick, the Rival is a scientist who longed to recreate the formula that gave Jay his speed. He used the formula with some success, as it was a temporary boost like the arrows on the tracks in Mario Kart. One time, however, he made a formula so powerful it sent him running at the speed of light, making him vanish into the Speed Force itself. The wonders he must have seen there. Edward Claris came back a half a century later in JSA number 16 as pure raw, uncut Speed Force energy thanks to all the time he spent on his forced vacation there. He was able to escape thanks to a deal with Sorrow he made for the Flash's head. Poor Rival. All that speed and intelligence, and after 50 years, he just couldn't learn to let it go. Speedsters get faster as they mature. Therefore, a future fastest man alive is faster than the fastest man alive now, right? Future Flash is a version of Barry Allen who let the guilt of losing Wally West crush the goodness of his heart for good. So many of us are like the way Thanos describes Tony Stark in Avengers Endgame. We can't live with our own failures, so we long to travel back in time, to fix things. It works in some stories, but in others, racing backwards through time is a way of standing still. Future Flash goes through time slaughtering his enemies like a drunk who's had his heart broken fighting other drunks on a pub crawl. He's actually a good example of where a lot of us will be if we don't deal with our problems healthily in 20 years. Wally West has an alternate version, Walter West, who could not save the lovely Linda Park. He goes the dark vigilante route. What's amazing is the Dark Flash has the ability to be at 3 different places simultaneously. In Flash number 135, you can see him doing CPR on 3 people at once. Instead of doing something constructive with his ability, like say, coach a hockey team, spend time with your family, and work all at once, he uses this power to maim and mangle. His endgame, to take Wally West's place in another reality so he can see Linda alive again. That ain't right, man. Wally's just a kid. Black Racer was a former servant of the great Darkside, whose name alone makes DC villains wet their tights. Black Racer freed himself from the Dark Lord by fusing himself with Barry Allen. Hey, doesn't this guy remind you of a faster Atom Smasher from Cyberpunk 2077? Once he escaped, he unfused, retaining all of Barry's powers, which were amplified because of their blending with some of his own. He's a god eternal, so he cannot be slain any which way you swing your sword, and his foot speed can match and exceed anyone's, for he is the manifestation of death itself, like the Black Flash. With a standout name like Godspeed, he should be number 1. August Hart, Barry's former crime-fighting partner, saw Barry get his powers, and then was struck by lightning himself. He lost his brother to a violent crime and seeks vengeance as a vigilante. There's no measure too brutal for Godspeed to take, like, say, taking and executing hostages, as revenge is all-consuming for the man in the white suit. At the top of his game, the man was for a time faster than Barry, running at speeds exceeding Mach 5. The fastest Justice Leaguer beats him in races, though, thanks to his taxi driver-level knowledge of Central City. Hunter Zolomon, aka Zoom, is a Shadow Olympian, meaning he doesn't just want to be the world's fastest, he needs to be. Like the way Highlander can absorb the strength from the energy of his fallen enemies, Zoom can absorb the speed of fellow speedsters by straight up sucking it out of them. Zoom can also run interdimensionally, so he can theoretically bridge any two realities, bringing in all kinds of versions of all kinds of different pieces of DC lore. Zoom should be a motivational speaker. If you have a goal, you can achieve it if you obsess on it 24/7 just like Zoom does, and do whatever it takes. All the Reverse Flash ever does is bad things. Eobard Thawne is the reason Barry Allen never feels fast enough. He slayed his dear mama and framed his daddy before he could get wise to it. The man in the yellow suit is from the 25th century and has an all-consuming personal vendetta against, well, I guess we'll call him the regular Flash. That feeling that there's always someone with bad intentions one step ahead keeps Barry on his toes and makes that feeling that he's always running out of time grow inside him exponentially. That is a form of psychological warfare that has a way of wearing down an enemy until there's nothing left. The fact that this Flash villain feels so fast with respect to the world's fastest man is because he got the drop on him so many years ago, is one of the main sources of his power. It isn't all bad though. The Reverse Flash is the reason Barry works so hard solving crimes. Savitar is the Barry Allen who never finds a way to heal and lets his hurt overtake him. This time remnant Barry Allen hurts so bad, all he wants to feel is nothing. While some of us watch endless hours of TV to feel numb, Savitar is running a different route. He wants to become a god, because gods don't feel pain. What does that have to do with speed, you ask? Speedsters are not just driven by the Speed Force, but by a fury, a fast and furiousness way beyond that of Dominic Toretto's crew to become more. Remember in The Fast and the Furious when Dom spoke of how he watched his father's fatal car crash? That story reminds me of Savitar, and is a testament to his true power. Maybe if Savitar had a friend like Brian to let all the pain out to, he could keep his love of power in check and have a healthy relationship with his need for speed. The Black Flash arrives when a speedster dies, turning them into a time wraith and sending their energy back to the Speed Force. Time wraiths are the time cops of the Speed Force. That makes the Black Flash their big ugly police chief. Why can't anyone outrun the Black Flash? The Black Flash represents the one thing no living thing can outrun: death. It has come for everyone who has ever gone before you and everyone who will ever come after. Old-timers often say there are only two things for certain in life: death and taxes. In a way, the Black Flash is not evil in the same way that the Game of Thrones' Night King or Lady Death are not evil. They're just doing their job. So is the Black Flash. If he's coming for you, well, you can't run forever. Honorable mention goes to the Negative Flash, who was Barry's ex who ended up working for Gorilla Grodd. Imagine how awkward it would be running into her at the supermarket. All this talk of speeding makes me want to go for a run. Better get my tights on.